hear love, speak love, everyone loves Lulu. See love, hear love, speak love, everyone loves Lulu.
Welcome to Everyone Loves Lulu. I'm your girl, Miss Lulu, and I've got the sweetest guest here today. She is a powerhouse mom. She's a superhero wife, and her sweetness is your weakness, because it definitely is my weakness. The founder and the owner of ANTY MITA'S Cookies with a K. Okay. Sitting right here, the beautiful Auntie Mita. Hey, Auntie, thank you for joining us today on Everyone Loves Lulu.
Thanks for having me.
So we want to go all the way in the beginning, before you even created Auntie Mita's Cookies. And I'm going to shoot you a few questions just to kind of get to know you a little bit so the viewers and our listeners can get to know you too. Okay. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right. Okay. What's your full birth name?
Famita Leo Marks.
Oh.
Marks is my married name.
You see that? She's claiming. Hi, Uncle Jason. Okay, and where are you from originally?
I was born in Western Samoa, which is considered Samoa now?
Independent Samoa.
Yes. I left when I was, I think, 10.
Wow.
And made my way into American Samoa, and then I ended up in Hawaii. And then that's how I got here.
And came here to the
Came
States.
here, yeah.
And came here specifically to Southern California?
Yes, I came here with my dad.
Okay, to Long Beach.
Long Beach, yeah.
And you're still around Long Beach
I'm still
now?
a block away from the church that I grew up in. Yeah, we're in the house that I grew up in. I'm not too far from there.
Oh, I love
stuff.
it.
Yeah, so.
Well, let's start. Let's go back to independent Samoa, to Samoa. And do you remember your upbringing there? Because you were there for 10 years. That's
Yes.
where you grew up. Where in Samoa are you from?
I'm from Apia, a village called Vaimoso. Yeah, a lot of rugby players from there.
Okay, that's right. Lots of talent.
Yes, that's where the Mau is. It's where we were independent. That's where they have this, the remembrance of the house was for the independence, how we
Samoa.
became independent.
Okay,
yes.
that's great.
So, yeah, so I grew up there, and I went to school there, primary school there, and then and one day I came home. My sister was actually my older sister. You know, usually in our culture, the older one always leaves.
Yes.
Leaves home.
Yeah.
So my older sister met a rugby player. I think he's famous now. He's a celebrity, and she decided she didn't want to come. And then I came home. My mom was crying, and I said, "What happened? We're all supposed to be excited that she was leaving." And she said, "Oh, she doesn't want to go." And I said, I still remember. I said, "I'll go."
And
I'm
you were
thinking,
10 years old.
I was 10 years old, and I was thinking, "Oh, it's just a boat ride, right? Just to down and come back, right?"
So you thought you were going to go and come back. Never thought that you were going to leave and kind of leave for good.
It never crossed my mind that I wasn't coming back. I just thought, I said, well, it shouldn't be that bad. So
Right,
I got
and
in.
it's an opportunity to go and check out the rest of the world.
Yes, that's how I got here. I got on this big, huge, it's called Salamasina. That's how you don't have money. You only pay I think it was $4.
Wow.
To-
And was
to
it
get
for
in.
Tala or was it for US? at
For
the time?
Tala.
Wow.
Which
Which
is
is
like
even
what? Yeah.
like $1.75.
Like $1.75. And it was probably free because I think my uncle was the pilot.
Yeah. It was...
Yeah. Got the family hookup.
Okay. Got your $4.
Okay.
Get to keep it. Wow.
So
okay,
anyway,
so then you did the
so
boat ride to American Samoa.
I did my journey through the boat ride and got in there, and it is looks like now that I'm looking at how the slaves got here, I was like, man, this is because there's no chairs. It's all open.
And then
up
if
on
the seas are rough, right? If the ocean's rough, that's
I don't remember because I felt I was knocked out because I was so seasick.
So you were seasick. So
Yeah.
that's a good thing because a lot of people usually, throw
Yeah.
up or they get really bad seasickness.
Exactly, but can you imagine a 10-year-old
No.
leaving home and never,
Never returning and not
we don't
realizing
even
that
do
you were
that.
leaving.
Exactly, and now
They trapped you, Auntie.
Yeah. Because you just think you're just going as a trip. You're helping your family out. You're going. You don't want to. My whole thing was not missing the opportunity.
Right.
It's like my auntie and uncle spent all this money to try to get her there, and she didn't want to go. So I wanted to help. You
Yeah.
know.
and actually still facilitate that opportunity. And you
Yeah.
thought you were helping out by going and then coming back to
Yeah.
share your experience.
Exactly. So it never really crossed my mind that I was going and never ever go back. It was just the fact that, wow, it was going to be a fun ride. And then you get on the boat and
And you're sleeping the whole way because you're sick.
I was so seasick.
How long? Do you remember how long the boat ride was?
It was 8 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for planes now, because the plane ride, right, from independent Samoa to American Samoa was like 25 minutes.
Yeah, it's not even.
But it's 8
half.
hours,
8
by
hours.
ocean.
An ocean that's not even. It's not a smooth. Yeah, It wasn't a smooth ride. I'm sure. But I had when I sat down, and the older people were there to ask what's your name, where are you from, and then I said my dad's name, and they said, oh, he's a teacher.
Oh wow! So that's the beauty of Samoa, right? And coming from a small island, is that, and when you know your village and then your family name, and everybody kind of
Yeah.
knows what your family does, where you're from,
Yeah.
and kind of your whole history, right?
And then she just took care of me in there. She let me sit next to her, and she said I slept the whole way. And I think after we arrived, she had told my dad that, she slept the whole way. But the thing that I remember my dad was like, you memorized, I was saying the Psalm 20.
Oh, Psalm 23.
Yes.
Because you were
Lord is my
nervous, it was
shepherd.
scary.
Yeah. So I always remember that. I said, if my dad told me that. I said, yeah, you were saying that, repeating it over in your sleep.
Wow.
Because I was so nervous.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it put you at ease. You got to make the whole trip.
Yeah.
So then when you got to American Samoa, how long did you stay in American Samoa?
I think we stayed there probably a half a year.
Oh,
We were
wow.
trying
So
to get
about
up.
6 months to get your papers.
You get your papers. That's where you usually go at the time. You usually go there, and then, or you go to New Zealand. But we ended up there. My dad was already there waiting.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got to, I had a sister in Hawaii, and that's how we ended up in Hawaii.
So how many siblings do you have?
Well, I have 8
Biological?
and then I have 7 here that I
Wow.
grew up, that raised me since I've been here.
Yeah, which are your first cousins who then became your siblings
Yeah,
as
my
well.
siblings. Yeah.
So you have a total of, just 15
Yeah.
siblings?
15, 16.
And where are you in the mix? As far as your biological
I am the
sibling?
youngest here, and I'm like the middle
Of
of the biological. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then you go to you finally get your papers and you get to Hawaii. How was that? How long were you in Hawaii?
I'm not sure how long we stayed there, but I just remember that, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Long Beach. And I said, oh, that's a beautiful place. I said, oh, I can't wait to go to Long Beach.
Well, coming from Samoa and then coming from American Samoa and then Hawaii,
Yeah.
and then they said Long Beach was a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. See, the founder of Island Block over here is rolling his eyes because he's from Carson. So, he thinks that Carson is more beautiful than anywhere
know.
else in the world.
Who cares about Carson? I'm just kidding. I love my Carson people.
They love your cookies.
They're my biggest fans.
I know. I think they order every other day from you over here
Yeah.
in Carson. Okay, so then you're in Hawaii, and then you finally make it to Long Beach.
So I finally made it here, and so my aunt, which is actually my mom. We'll go back. We'll
Yes,
we'll talk
yes.
about that with the cookies, because
Yeah.
she's part of the
story, right?
yeah, the process and stuff. So she takes me to school. We went to I started middle school here, and we go in there, and then she's crying, but I don't know. I found out later on my nephew, Corky,
Yes.
we're the same grade, same age. He's telling everybody. I said, Mama's crying because I didn't speak no English. I
Right.
forgot about that. Yes,
You didn't speak any
no
English?
lick of English. No,
Dude, I love that. She even said it,
No,
She's
I
like,
didn't-
I didn't speak no English.
I didn't. ESL. Joe, you know about that ESL.
Hooked on Phonics original. Okay.
So we get in there, and she goes, "Oh no, she doesn't speak English. She needs to go to Webster, which is the elementary, right?"
Okay.
So she takes me back over there, and then they ask me. I said, "Oh, do you?" I said, "I don't know
What you're talking about, I can't
But
understand you.
I must have told my aunt at the time. And I said, "No, I don't speak English, but I can read. And then she goes, okay, can you read a book? And then I start reading. She goes, okay, you're going back to back back to
to the other.
Stevens. I said, you don't
Nice.
need to be over here. You read.
You read
I could
English,
read
but you
English.
couldn't really
I
like
couldn't
speak it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
couldn't speak it. I comprehend what I'm reading.
So you
but
understand what was.
I understand, but I couldn't speak it. I don't know why. That's kind of weird. How
Yeah, but
I
then
could.
the more you were around it, so how long did it take for you to kind of catch up and actually start to speak English?
I don't really remember
Yeah.
how if I didn't speak English at all.
Wow.
Yeah, I just.
I don't think
it's
I ever
kind-
knew that about you.
Yeah.
That you never spoke English. So that's something.
Yeah, but I could read. I could read really well. At that age.
Yeah.
And stuff. So
And
yeah.
comprehend it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's interesting. So after school, how was your journey then? Like acclimating, because you're coming from this small island. You're still thinking. Are you at this point? Do you know you're not going back to Samoa?
I know I wasn't going back, and I was actually, I wasn't looking back. Like, oh, when I didn't have that at the time when
Like,
I
you didn't really miss
arrived
it.
here. I felt like this is home.
Wow.
This was, I didn't have that. Whoa, I'm homesick, and even
because you
when
were
my
so
mom.
loved and you have.
Yes, even when my mom was crying, I said, "Oh, I'm not coming back." I'm thinking, you're not gonna see. I'm sad for her. I'm sad that I'm not gonna have because I was really close to her,
Right.
and I didn't think I was in my heart. I said, "There's
knew.
no, yeah, I
You knew
won't
that
be
this
back
was home
until
now.
yeah, this was home."
Until you were
Yeah.
established and actually did all the experiences that you needed to do
Yeah,
before you could quit. Because in your mind, were you still thinking about how you could be helping your family?
yeah, and you come here and you want to be successful and you want to, you want to help out your family back home and stuff. So I came here and our life was so busy because my uncle was actually the pastor and he was,
And you had a
we
church.
had a busy,
And you had a
yes,
community and a congregation to take care of.
exactly.
And then, you're the baby now in
Yeah.
the family.
And I'm living the minister life. I'm becoming. They took me in. My aunt and uncle took me in, and they became my parents, and stuff. Even though my dad was here, they were kind of. They
Really
took over.
and-
Yes, and their kids were also. They took me in like I was their own.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And still
siblings.
to this day.
Until this day,
I
I'm,
love
I'm
it.
more closer to them than my own biological.
And that's very common though, right? Like to explain to who's listening in our
in our
in
culture.
our
Yeah.
culture and in our country, it's very
natural.
common for cousins and or to adopt within the family.
Yeah.
Like not that you're adopting from outside, like it could be your actual aunt and uncle who adopts
Yes.
you or and so that's the case here.
Oh, it's
'cause there's
very
so many
common. Yeah, it's very common for us to, if you,
adopt within
yeah,
the same family.
it's like helping the community. We're helping each other out as a family to be, to be better because.
Yeah, and help it grow and be successful, like you had mentioned. Just like the saying that we always have, and I think I've mentioned it more than once, it takes a village to raise a child.
Exactly.
And that's really what we practice.
Yeah, yeah.
And so the opportunity presented itself. So it was your dad who actually knew he was coming to the
My
States.
dad was planning on coming.
But it was supposed
because-
to be with your older sister.
with my older sister. And then
Okay.
she ended up staying and I ended up coming.
Yeah. And so your dad knew. And so how long did your dad stay
My dad stayed for at least 4 years.
and then went back?
And then went back.
But
Yeah.
at that point, you were already established. You were in school.
I was ready for him to leave.
So you could live your best
I
life.
could live my best life.
There you go. You're like, Dad, I think Mom misses you a lot.
Yeah.
Like, you need to go over. So what was your dad doing here? Was he helping out with your uncle, the pastor? And
Yes, I think he got a job. He worked as a security. He was a teacher, so back home. So he came. He figured out how to, make some money so he can send it back home. So he did really well, before he left
before he left.
and stuff. So and he's like 86 now.
I think that's really impressive, Auntie, and commendable that even as young as you were, you didn't miss home and you weren't homesick.
I know.
That's so mature of you already, because I mean, to be taken from your home that young,
Yeah.
and and I just want to kind of get into your mindset of what were you thinking about that
I-
made you just strong enough to be able to go through something
Yeah.
like that.
I think to me, when I think back now, it has to be the faith that I have in God, that I knew that He had a plan for me, and back home was not the plan. Like I was bigger than being at home, being in the
Samoa.
islands.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's all. If I think about it, it had to be that. It had to be that I trusted that God had a bigger plan for me.
So
I
your
mean,
faith has
just-
always been
yeah.
strong, and then you come into with your uncle and aunt, who are now your mom and dad, who
Yeah.
also, I mean, they're in the church, so your faith
Yeah.
had to be even stronger.
Exactly. We had church every day. We had church. Sunday was you don't do anything but go to church on Sunday.
Yeah.
But we also have night service. We do that back home. You're familiar with
Yes.
that? Yeah. So
I don't know. I didn't go to church very much. See, this is the problem. I need you in my life.
that's the problem, huh, Jill?
And this is why I'm doing a podcast now.
No.
I need Jesus. So your faith was strong. So you did on Sundays. It was all about church. But then even through the week, you have youth groups and you have,
Practice. Yeah.
and choir and all
Yeah.
these other things.
We
But
we
so
made up
everything
our
is kind of-
band. We had a band. I was a singer. Yeah, I used to sing when I was
Okay, Mariah Carey, watch
okay.
out. Beyonce, who? So you sang, but did all the siblings?
All the
Was it
siblings,
voluntold?
yes.
Okay. Tell us about uncle and auntie, who are actually, who I know as grandma and grandpa. Your parents now, were they pretty strict?
They were very strict. And, they were also kind. They were very kind to us as long as you stay in the premise. You do what you have to do. We
Yeah.
figure out a way to how to make them happy because,
They're
that's
providing.
that's what they were here for and stuff. And some of us, we weren't perfect kids.
What?
No,
I
we-
don't believe it.
We weren't,
Angels?
we weren't that perfect.
I see your wings still, auntie. And your tail.
They
No, I'm just
follow-
kidding.
They follow me everywhere.
Right, exactly.
But they were good, they actually served the community. If you think about it, he was the head of the Samoan congregation church here and stuff. A lot of people respect him, and they didn't. We don't have that many pastors like that anymore and
Right.
stuff. But it's hard because that's in his church. A lot of people that came from the islands, they ended up in his church, and then they find their way out. They started
That was their
there.
beginning, their foundation.
Yes, that's
and
where
then,
their foundation. So he laid out the foundation for not just for his kids and myself, but for the whole family. Then all the Samoans that came through him. They will remember by the way he was. When people see us and they say, "Oh, those are your parents," I say, "Your mom was such a a beautiful soul." And it was true because that's how she carried the whole Long Beach area, the west side of Long
Yeah.
Beach. If you talk to the kids back there, back now, they say, man,
they remember.
they didn't go to our church, but they went to school with me. So they had a lot of respect for my
parents.
parents and stuff. So
And what they did for the community.
exactly.
And
yeah.
so that carries on with you now and with all your siblings, right? That's
Yeah.
that kind of sense of community and still helping out your
Yeah.
community and then within your own families.
Exactly.
So let's fast forward a little bit and we'll jump back and forth. But since grandma and grandpa were so strict, how was dating?
The
in
dating
your
was
life?
bad.
It was not
But here's the thing: I had the girls from the church. We cover for each other.
Oh. This is where that not perfect thing
Not
about you guys.
perfect, yeah.
So the girls from the church, you had your own little posse.
We all went
Okay.
together everywhere we went.
That's awesome.
So they couldn't say, "Oh, where were you at?" They said,
And
"Oh, I
with
went
who?
to so and so."
So technically, you weren't lying.
I wasn't lying. As long
We
as
just didn't really tell them everybody that was in the group.
yeah, as long as the group all showed up at church.
Right.
And
oh,
not
that's a good
yes,
one.
yeah. That was the whole thing. We stuck together. We hung out together. We
You did
we
everything
did all
together and protected and took care of each
those
other.
those were my sisterhood. We all stayed together, and we grew up, and now we're all married and have kids of our own.
And are you still friends now and sisters from the church? A
Yes.
lot of?
Some of us we're so busy, and
Yeah.
some of us but we're not as close as we used to be. But when
But
we
you still
see each
remember.
other, yeah,
It's like time doesn't even pass,
yeah,
huh?
exactly.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
incredible. Okay, so then we fast forward to you meeting your one.
My one,
Yeah.
the man.
The one and only. Oh my gosh.
It was
You got to say it from the beginning. Like, where did you meet? And then when you actually, tell us, guide
So,
us through the whole story.
we met at it was like a nightclub. I don't know if they remember. Joe, you remember Red Onion? Red Onion used to be across the street from Lakewood Mall.
I think he was born there.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes sense.
But we met, because we're not 21. We're supposed to. He shows up. He's not even 21, but we met him.
So you met,
That's
so wait,
where
were you out with your girls?
I was out with. But remember, I'm the youngest out of all these cousins, so they're all older. And my sister knew the
And they just
bouncer.
drag you along.
Yes, and they dragged me along. They said you got to go in before the nightclub starts, because it was the restaurant / nightclub.
Red Onion.
Red Onion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where was that at?
Lakewood, I think.
Okay, in
Yeah.
Lakewood. So Red Onion. And so you guys used to go there quite often, every weekend, maybe?
That was the last time I went.
You found the one, and then okay. So you went to Red Onion, and then how did it happen? Like, did you see each other from across the room?
I saw him across the room, and I said, "Oh, that guy's cute," and I'm sitting there, and because somebody was talking to me and said, "You're not Samoan, you're," because I was size 4, I was way smaller than this. I was like size 2.
Oh, dang.
I'm like, "No, I'm Samoan."
You had a thigh gap, Auntie?
Yes, I did. I can't see that anymore.
You, me both, okay? Damn it. Okay, so you're tiny and looking fabulous and delicious. And so you see him across the room.
Yeah, so and I was just like, oh, okay, he's with. Well, they followed my cousin because she was so beautiful and followed. She was on the dance floor. And they followed him, and that's when he came in.
And talked to you.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I can't wait.
Yes, and the rest is history.
So
7 kids later.
Oh, Lord have mercy. There was no TVs for a minute, huh?
There was no TV.
You guys really liked each other.
We couldn't afford to get a TV. Remember, we're 7 kids. We got married very young.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, do you remember what he said to you? That he wanted to dance, or when you first met?
I don't remember. I think he asked me for my number, and I gave her my cousin's name and my phone number.
Oh, okay, got
And
it.
I said, my name's not really that. My name is,
You changed your
my
name.
name is something else.
Right. So then he calls.
He calls, and then he came over, and my dad just felt, I've never seen him light up like that. And I never share this story. When I saw him, and I was like, oh, I said, oh, I hope this is going to work out because, but I've never seen my dad his eyes light up like that. Even my mom was like, when are you going to get married? And I'm like, you marry him if you don't.
So Uncle Jason, Jason Marks,
Yeah.
right? And that's a really tough dynamic because he's African American and white,
Yeah.
and coming into this really strict Samoan family. And so you were really surprised at how strict Grandma and Grandpa were, but yet they were kind of accepting. They fell in love with him.
They fell in love with him.
So tell me about that, because I remember a story where it was kind of like the first meeting, and didn't Grandpa say that you weren't allowed to date him, but he had to learn the language and the culture and the...
He wasn't allowed to come in. He goes, in this house, when you come in this house, you can't speak English. In this house, we speak Samoan. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, I'm not even married to her yet.
I'm just trying to talk to her a little bit.
I was trying to...
I was like, dang.
That's how strict he was. It's like, you enter this house, you don't, you're not allowed to,
You only speak Samoan. And okay, how crazy is that? Because he's not Samoan.
Exactly.
He's not Polynesian at all.
And I'm like, he didn't even ask me to marry him, and you're over here telling you, demanding stuff. But,
But Uncle
they
Jason
were
did.
really, yeah.
He learned. I mean, I
Yeah.
can't wait until we have him on the show as well and get to hear his story. But he learned how to speak Samoan and learn the culture.
Yes.
And damn, if that ain't love, I don't know what
I
is.
know.
He really loved
Yeah.
you
He
to really
loved-
do
well,
all that.
Yeah, he
And love
loved
the
he
family.
loved the family, and my family kind of took him in, and they look at him as their brother. He's not an in-law,
Yeah.
and my parents kind of took, even his parents, look at it like that, and they're proud.
Yeah.
They're proud of that and stuff, which it makes our relationship a lot better. That's why we're strong
Mm-hmm.
in
And
faith.
still going
Yeah,
strong.
yeah,
And then you had your 7 beautiful blessings.
yeah. They're blessings.
I can't wait for what they say after
They're
watching them.
almost blessings. They're
Well,
still headaches.
the grandkids now are blessings, right?
Yes.
It's the
Yeah.
kids. So that's so funny because even my mom says so. When I try to tell her, it's like, "Oh, you miss me, mom." I was like, "No, we're the kids." You know?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, what's the difference? Now I can actually ask, what is the difference between your children and now having grandchildren?
It's just a different kind of love that you never thought you have extra
Love to give?
space in
Yeah.
your heart to give, but it's just that different kind of love that you have in your heart.
Because
That's
I know, I
unconditional.
see how
Yeah.
you are with your grandkids, and my mom with Michael. I was like, they get away with murder.
Yeah, yeah. A lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
They get everything they want. We're not allowed to do this, this, and this. And then we're looking back. And then the other funniest thing to me is when I try to discipline my kids.
Yeah.
And, they used to, okay, being Samoan and how strict we can be and how we spare the rod, we spoil the child. Okay, you get backhanded, 2x4. No, just kidding.
Okay. And
Kicked in the face. But, and yet with the grandkids, my mom gets mad at me if I try to salsa the kids.
We do too.
Spank the kids.
Especially him, especially my husband. He's very, he's got a really, really
Soft for
his grandkids. I'm more like, they're coming again. I love them.
I love them.
Just kidding.
And Uncle Jason's like, stay here forever.
Yeah. So we have 6 grandkids.
6 grandkids.
Yeah.
7 kids.
Yeah.
And now you guys, and then of course, and still counting.
And still
right?
counting, but
Holy
not
cow.
anytime soon.
Hopefully.
We need a break.
Right. All right. So now let's talk about your sweetness is everyone's weakness right now, which is Aunty Mita's cookies. I want to hear from the beginning. When did you start baking? Ever?
I started baking, because I was the youngest. I always helped my mom out, and she was a baker and stuff. And she used to make the tarts, which I have some here.
Which is pineapple tarts.
The pineapple tarts. And I used to watch her do it, and I was like, gosh, Mom, 12 tarts in 48 minutes. We didn't have the conventional oven.
Oh, yes. So that's
back
even
then it was
longer.
just a regular oven. And
So she would
I
be
was like,
baking like all
"Mom, this
night
is-"
sometimes.
Yeah, she'll bake from morning until for her. She used to make that and sell them at bingo. We used to have bingo
Yeah.
at church at
Shout
the
out
hall.
to Bingo. I hope it comes back.
Okay.
I'm done with this pandemic.
I heard it's opening soon.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we'll line up for it.
Okay.
Okay, so she used to sell it at the bingo for extra
Yeah,
money.
and then I said, Mom, we need to make something else because this is way too much work for you to
Because
do.
it's all handmade,
Yeah,
right?
and she makes
From
it
scratch.
from scratch. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, because that's what she used to. That's what we used to feed a lot of the guests that we had were pastors. They'll come over and
you
stay
have
over.
to really host.
Stay over for a long time. They'll have tea after tea. I'm like, I can never. He used to come. My husband used to come over, and I said, "You want to come over? We're making tea." It goes at 10 o'clock. I said, "That's the perfect time. You're just starting." And like they don't leave until like 4, 3.
And by that time, it's like 6 teas later.
Yeah, 6
Oy,
teas
oy.
later. Yeah, exactly. So that's how we came up with. She went and got the chocolate chips, and we figured out how to.
Make the cookies.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
we just had. Like it used to be really flat, and she'll sell them like 3 in one bag for $1 for her Sunday school and stuff, and that's how I
They just
kept
build it,
practicing.
build it.
Yeah,
And so, and you're next to her like her sidekick the whole time, just watching and absorbing.
yeah. But I never knew her recipe about the
tarts.
the tarts. I didn't want to know.
Oh.
Yeah, because if you know, she's gonna tell you, "Oh,
And
did you
that's a
do that?"
responsibility.
You're stuck in the kitchen forever.
Yeah.
The cookies were easy because it's cooked.
It's fast.
8 to 10 minutes.
Right.
And you get a dozen, and she's done. 5 dozen. That's enough for her to sell.
Right.
For her, just to keep her happy, so we can.
And you still have time to go hang out with your
Exactly.
friends and do
Yeah.
other things rather than be stuck baking all day.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So then when did you start developing your own, I guess, method and start to think like, okay,
I think it's when I got married, and then I learned how to start.
and you were
You
having
have
all
to
these
make,
kids?
and then I have to figure out how to feed these kids because I didn't just have my kids at my house.
Oh yes, you were the like
We were like
the
the
substation
community.
for
Yeah,
the drop
exactly.
offs. It's like any kid, want a kid, come over here.
Okay,
And see
anybody. You know, the neighbors' kids used to, like, they see on Sundays, they see the fire, the barbecue, then they see it come, and then they're slowly come one by one. And I'm like, okay, when are you going home?
Holy
And we used
cow.
to do that every Sunday. That was his thing. He will only cook on Sundays, and I cooked during the week and stuff. So
And then, but Uncle Jason was also your husband was gone a lot, right?
he was gone a lot.
So you were with the kids, so you had to be a stay-at-home mom and still find an innovative way to kind of help
Yeah.
out and
Yeah.
make extra money.
Yeah.
And that's what.
And that's what I realized that I enjoy cooking and stuff, and cooking for my family when we have our holidays. I was
Uh-huh.
always the one that cooked, and the cookies was easy to do for me, and I just started doing it, and I said, oh, it's getting better and better every time I figure it out how to come about it and stuff, and that
And so your first cookie that you ever kind of really developed was the chocolate chip cookie?
the chocolate chip.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I
so
didn't-
how many times, or do you remember how long it took until you kind of honed in what your special recipe
It took me a while because because I made it just for fun to
Yeah.
give away to families, and when we have faravlaves and stuff, and I never sold them until my son, the youngest, the number 7.
Hey, shout out to Ty.
Yeah, he started what
He's in college now.
Yeah, he's in college, and I waited until he was, he was in preschool, and I'm like, and he's like, okay, you're gonna go find a job. And I'm like, a job?
You're like, when?
This is
How?
a job.
I am working a full-time job right
Yeah.
now.
But then I walked in, and I didn't realize our liquor store down the street, the market, was this changed owner, and I started talking to the lady, and very nice, and I said, would you like to sell some stuff from me? And she's like, oh, what are they? And I said, the cookies. I said, I'll bring it over. I'll bring the samples over.
Yeah.
And then she calls me like an hour later. She goes, girl, it's sold out. I'm like, oh, those were samples. She goes, I know. Somebody recognized the she's like, wait, is this that my family's,
Yeah, cookies, and then the word
and
spread
then
like
the word
wildfire.
just spread out in the west side of Long Beach, and that's how, yeah.
You got your
I still sell them there. It's one of my main store. I can't even keep up with any other store because she's
just the
the
demand is so high. But
yeah.
that's cool. Then it becomes like the niche, right?
Yeah.
They know it's at
Exactly. So it started off with the chocolate chips, and I said, oh, maybe I can add some nuts in there. And then she goes, oh, they really like the walnuts. So I started making more walnuts for,
yeah, and then adding to your flavor for the cookies.
Exactly.
Well,
But I forgot to go back on my husband. So I used to make it at the house, just make it, and he'll come over, and I said, man, can you make those cookies for my friends?
Oh,
for
right, like for work
for
and
his roommates, before we
Aw.
got married.
And they really liked it because
He was probably one of the main ones that keep encouraging me and say, can you make the cookies? Can you make it? Bring some over. Are you going to make it when I come over? And he used to come and pick me up. And
man, it is
Yeah.
true. Then the way to a man's heart is through his stomach.
okay. To him, for real. 100%.
That makes sense now that your sweetness is his weakness.
Yes.
Okay, that's how you caught him the first time around. Well, going back to Uncle Jason, how old were you when you guys got married?
We were like, 92, 22. We were both 22.
Baby.
Yeah, we were babies.
22.
We were figuring out how to get along, because we were young, and I never moved out. He came here for college and met me, and he was stuck with me. So he had no
I think he
choice.
wanted to be stuck with you.
He had no, we learned how to live life together, through all the, the ups and downs. Yeah.
And what was it? Do you remember, like, what was it about Uncle Jason? So cool, because we can talk about also here, it's an all-encompassing about your life, right? And your outtake on marriage and being so young that time. And what was it? Like, what was it that kept you guys so strong this long? Because how many
Yeah.
years now?
It's almost 29 years in April.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's
Be 30 years next year.
That's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Shoot, any year is an accomplishment these days to actually be married. It's
I
almost like
know.
an extinct institution, you know,
Yeah.
being married. It's too many people are able to just, they are not really in it for the commitment. It's so easy to just get out of
Yeah.
it. So the fact that you've made it 29 years and started so young at 22, when there's so many changes that happen along the way.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
mean, we didn't have a perfect marriage. Nobody does. But
Right.
we've learned how to, to live and respect each other. And we just we had a really special love for each other. And
would you
stuff.
say that you developed a friendship as well?
Exactly, and stuff. So
So
yeah.
even to this day, you guys like to hang out with each other.
Sometimes. Excuse me.
You're like only on the weekends.
Hey, I'm still doing last minute stuff, like putting on my makeup today. And I say, "Oh, can you take me?" He goes, "Take you where?" To do my interview. He said, "You didn't tell me you had an interview."
So communication is definitely not the
Yeah.
key.
I'm so last minute. And he's like, "You didn't tell me," but he's very structured, and I'm not. So I think that's the
That's
opposite.
why it works.
Yeah.
Opposites really do attract.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
And you fulfill different things that each other needs that one
Yes.
doesn't have, right? And
Yeah.
that makes
Yeah.
sense. So it kind of balances
Yeah,
out.
and I was fortunate to stay home and practice how to get this cookie,
Yeah.
my baking stuff. I was fortunate that I didn't have to go to work.
Right.
Because there's a lot of successful women that just didn't become, they had to go to school and work full time and try to figure out how to make something on the side, another side hustle.
So
And I didn't have to do that
Yeah.
because he was able to
to
provide. Yeah. So I got to
financially.
play. Yeah. I mean, he
That's-
literally was, I used to work for the Smith family, and
Will and Jada.
he would take the cookies over there, and they loved
loved
it.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I know.
so-
I can't wait to. I have to coax Uncle to get on the show. After this interview, he probably don't ever want to come back.
I know. You might have to negotiate a
I
contract.
know. I might have to put it in. I was like, I'm sorry. She already signed you in, Uncle Jason, to be part of this.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. So that's beautiful, and you guys are still going strong. When is your? Okay. This is the one thing. You know, me being married, and I always look up to all my aunties and uncles because everyone is still with their
Yeah.
in their relationship. They're still all married.
We're still. Yeah.
That is so amazing,
Yeah.
because I mean, I come from a broken home and you don't realize how much that affects your life.
Yeah.
So to see all of you, all of my aunties
Yeah,
and
that's
uncles,
right.
at least on that side, are all still married. That
Yeah.
is,
It's a blessing.
that is
for
a blessing.
us. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's because I feel like it's because of the example that grandma and grandpa
Exactly.
did.
Yeah.
The faith that you have is so strong.
Yeah.
And then not being afraid of hard work because it's work, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is the secret to you about marriage, to keep a marriage?
For better, for worse.
It's your
I
promise.
think you really, really have to take that to and look at that. It's for better, for worse. It could be anything. Worse, it doesn't say in the Bible what kind of worse it's going to be because
Yeah.
you don't know. But, not everything is going to be better and stuff. So that's my
So
only
don't
advice.
don't
yeah.
forget the worst part, right?
Don't forget
don't
the
just
worst.
give up when it gets worse. Wow.
It's fun to get out from the worst, but and being respectful. We still love each other. Thank God that we're
yeah, still in love. And still going
it's
strong.
really God's plan and stuff, and we're really into the, he came from a broken family too, so, but he didn't go to church like us, Now he's pushing me to go to church. It's the other way around.
He's like, don't forget your roots, okay?
Yeah, he's like, are you gonna decide not to cook on Sunday? And I said, I have orders on Sunday, so you're gonna have to take the grandkids to church.
I was like, I pray for me while you're there.
Pray for me.
What I love though, every year, it's on your anniversary that you guys always take a trip. Isn't that something that you guys do?
At Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day. Okay.
I made it Valentine's Day. Here's the thing. Every holidays, the kids have taken up all the holidays. Christmas, Easter. I mean,
Darn kids.
yeah. I'm like,
It's
I
all
need my
about them all the
own.
time.
Yes, it's all about the kids. So I needed something to balance it out. And I figure the Valentine's Day is for lovers only, and you're too young to have a love. And
Right.
I'm your love. And that's
Right.
how I said, okay,
I love that. So you made Valentine's Day your special day, and so every year you guys take a trip.
Yeah, we take a trip. We used to go to Vegas.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
And then you go
yeah.
other places too. But so during the pandemic, can we talk about COVID and how that affected not only your Valentine's trip? So in 2020,
Yeah.
were you able to go away somewhere?
So he worked on Valentine's Day, and he got us. We stayed in at Marina Del Rey.
Oh, okay.
Just-
So
yeah,
you
we
still
just- yeah.
celebrated to commemorate it, but
Yeah.
you didn't really go very far because the world ended. So
Yeah.
that, I mean, well, before the world ended, because that was in February.
know.
So then March happened. How did that affect Auntie Mita's cookies?
You know what? It really, really. I think this year was probably the most successful year last year since the pandemic.
Yeah, don't worry. It's still continuing. It's like month 15
It's
of
been
2020.
It's been so crazy. Like
Because of,
it's,
unfortunately,
yeah,
there were
'cause
so
people are at
many-
home and people want sweets. They want to eat. You know,
Yeah.
they want to eat
Eat
something
their
comfy.
feelings. I know I do.
Yeah.
20 pounds later,
But
I was
ne-
like, I think I've been one of your
Yeah.
number one orders every other month. Oh, my Lord. But then
Yeah.
also the other thing that was interesting is that a lot of our community, especially Pacific Islanders, were very affected by
Yes.
COVID. And with that, your talent of cooking, your cookies
I know
have been
who-
a part of a
yeah.
lot of the
Yeah.
funerals, events, like
Yeah.
you said, drive-by events
Yeah.
that have been happening.
Because now they can have, they serve it with the food. They don't need, everybody's the drive-by, and they wanted to use a dessert that they can package, and people,
Yeah.
you probably say, we're not going to do the drive-by of Auntie Mita's Cookies. Not even part of your plan. I'm just kidding. But I have done so many funerals. I just did 2 today
Oh my gosh.
with COVID.
Bless
yeah.
their hearts.
Yeah. So.
And they're Pacific Islanders as well.
Mhm.
Isn't
Yeah.
that crazy? Now, for you, how did you feel once the pandemic hit and it was real?
It's funny because it happened in April, right? We were supposed to march. And that was the most craziest time because my son was he was going through the whole process of prom. Yes, he was a
That's
senior.
Right. He was a senior. He's one of the ones that didn't get a
Didn't
graduation.
get, and I said like a week before they closed it down, and I was like, God, this is crazy. I said, I got to do a prom, a graduation, and then he's got to go leave.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was not resting that whole entire time until May,
Right.
till he leaves. And then when it happened, I was like, yes.
You are so bad.
I feel like I was so relieved. And I said, I don't have to do none of
Like,
that
see what
stuff.
happens? Your prayers were way too
My
answered.
prayers,
God
need,
had to shut down the world so
yeah,
you didn't have
we
to.
need to rest. I needed a rest. We all needed a break. I mean,
Yeah.
look at that now. We didn't need all that. You don't need the hustle and bustle. Even though we missed the concerts, we missed a few
Right,
stuff.
but at the same time, did
Yeah.
it make you just closer as a family?
Exactly. Yeah.
You were able, like you said, to stop and really self-reflect, right? And
Yeah.
see what's really important.
Exactly. I had to think back, and I said, okay, maybe take this time and practice on how to figure out how to do this thing because it seems like everybody likes the cookies.
Right.
Yeah,
It's Everyone Loves Lulu is the show, but I think it's Everyone Loves Auntie Mita's Cookies is really what
It's
it
all
is.
about Auntie Mita's Cookies, right? But
yeah, because I
yeah.
mean, like, so you were able to reflect then, but then you got really busy. So now you're even busier than you were before.
Never been this busy.
What do you think is success when it comes to Auntie Mita's Cookies? Like, where do you want to see it go?
Somebody told me she used to pick up for her maid. I mean, the maid used to pick up for the lady that she worked for and stuff. And she rolled her window down. She goes, you have something to share. I said, I just want to tell you that I don't want to get in your business, but you have something that you want to share the world, that God has gave you a gift to share to the world. I said, I hope it, I said, oh, you're going to call me one day to have somebody come clean your house. And I'm like, hopefully soon.
You're like, I need that yesterday.
This business was just a hobby.
And
I
it was
didn't
just like, it was bonus if you got a
never
little
thought-
extra.
Yes. I donate more than I make, before. But this year, since the pandemic, it's been a blessing. I can send some more money back home for my dad. He's still alive. So, and help my family and, take care of my grandkids and stuff. And
Yes. Oh, I
so-
know. Okay. What are your grandbabies really called? What do you call them?
glam baby.
Glam baby.
And I'm Grammy.
Grammy and her
I'm gonna
glam
be- I'm a
babies.
bit extra.
No, and it's true. Her grandbabies are really glam babies. Okay, they know. They know what's up.
They know. They know. So yeah. So I mean, I'm fortunate that I was able to, to finally got it down. I finally, and then the pineapple pie was actually in honor of my mom. I was
That
like,
is
oh,
my absolute favorite.
But the saddest thing is when I started making it, she was already forgetting. She forgot the recipe. I didn't have a chance. No, I was so busy. I said, Mom, do you remember your recipe? She goes, I used to make that. I was like,
You're
what
like,
recipe? I'm
yes,
like,
Mom. Before the conventional oven, you were over here.
yeah.
So then you
that's
really had to figure it out yourself.
well, somebody asked me, say, do you do pineapple pies? And I said, what do you need? She goes, I need 250 or 300. And I'm like, yes, I know how to do.
Hey, fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
And you made it.
And I said, Mom, I need the recipe for the pineapple pie. Somebody wants 300 pies. I mean, half moon pie, not these little
Yes,
tiny.
right.
So she goes, you have a whole week. I said, okay, I have a whole week to practice it. I have tried the way that we do it, the way the Samoans do it. I said, that stuff is such a waste of
Of the product and
the
the
dough. Yeah. So I was sitting there and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to tell this lady tomorrow. It's Thursday already. I said, I can't fulfill
make
her.
it.
So, and then I was sleeping and I heard this, the commercial. It said empanadas.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
said, oh, that's it. The empanadas, we got to do it the empanada ways.
That's so
That's how I came up.
smart.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, I mean, now you have them in heart shapes. Those
In
are my
heart shapes.
favorite.
Because,
And-
I don't like them round.
Yeah, but it's really, you know what? I mean, the filling is bonus, but
Mm-hmm.
it's your dough. It's your crust.
Yeah.
You could just make that by itself, and it's incredible.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to get the secret recipe. But then I also found out because your kids know how to make it.
Yeah.
But it tastes different when they make it. I'm not gonna lie. I love you guys, but
And they always say, Mom, what did you put in there? They don't taste like yours. And I said, I think it has to be made.
that
You
was
know,
the gift
yeah.
that was given to you,
I
right?
said, probably the gift that was given to me. Because even my brother was like, man, I've been trying to make this because I missed the cookies. And he lives in Hawaii. And he goes, what? And I said, okay, how you doing? And I said, darn, I have to tell him the whole truth about it.
It's actually empanadas. It came to me in a dream. Well, before we sign out, I mean, this has been an incredible experience. I thought I knew you inside out, but I get to learn so many more
you.
awesome things about you, Auntie, and I just really appreciate you coming on the show. So let's highlight some of these goodies that are going to go straight to my thighs. Thank you so much. Okay, so right here
Okay,
we've got...
so those are the tarts.
And I love your labels. You make your own labels too.
So these are the. I'm trying to get some masks because each flavor has a different label.
Wow.
They're just like
so these are your pineapple tart. You're so
Yeah.
extra, like your glam babies.
Yeah, it's so.
And
these are
my
the,
sweetness is your weakness. Your as in you are. I love it. Okay. And
not me, the cookies.
okay, and those ones
And
are.
these are the ones they're selling out over there. Those are the s'mores.
They got
Yeah.
that campfire feel, which I really miss. And our family usually has camp every year,
Yeah,
but we
yeah.
haven't been able to do that. So we
So-
got s'mores cookies. So you've gotten innovative too during the pandemic, coming up with new flavors.
New flavors. That
One
was
of
the
my-
new flavors
One
this
of my
year.
favorite flavors is your white chocolate macadamia nut
Yes.
cookie. I can't wait to order those later. We'll talk.
Yeah, so we can pretty much put anything in there. In the cookies, the cereal, you can probably put all the cereal different flavors.
Here you are, chocolate chips with walnuts. One of
Yeah,
your
with-
OGs. Your
A lot of
originals.
guys like that. A lot
Oh.
of men. It's a man's favorite cookie at the store.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then you just have your regular
the
regular chocolate chip
Yes.
right here. So where can they get it? Again, Vera's Market.
Vera's Market in Long Beach.
Okay.
Off of Delta and Wardlow. and
Awesome.
stuff.
Here in
Yeah.
Southern California.
Or you
And-
can DM me if you want, a
Okay.
special order.
Auntie, everybody's sliding in your
DM me.
DMs right now. Look at you, getting up with the times. So they can DM you for more information. But then I also think, these were really good to ship to. I've shipped them to
And
my
this is the
family
box.
members.
This is the box. I found this
Okay,
box. Isn't
look at
that
this.
cute?
She's so extra. This is why you have to make
I
sure to support your
know.
local businesses with Auntie Mita's Cookies, Vera's Market, if you want to just get it right away, or DM Auntie Mita and make sure that she is a part, or Auntie Mita's Cookies is a part of every event that you do, because I'm telling you, you will be back for more, because it is addicting. I think she put crack in them. I promise. That's the secret ingredient.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts that you have before I let you go tonight?
Thank you for having me, and good luck with your show. God bless you.
I love you so much, and I appreciate you and everything you do.
thank
And I
you.
can't wait to put in my order right after this show.
Thank you.
Make sure you check out Everyone Loves Lulu, especially with Auntie Mita and Auntie Mita's Cookies. Thank you so much. See, hear, and speak love. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Island Block Network.
See love, hear love, speak love. Everyone loves Lulu.